Good morning, cadets. Today we are going to start the second story of the supplementary reader Vistas. The title of the story is The Tiger King. Sounds quite interesting. And the question that comes in our mind is why the Tiger King? The title. Why the king is called the Tiger King? It's a very humorous story. It's a satire on all those who are in power. And this story is written by the writer Kalki. Kalki is his pen name. Last year, the story The Tiger King was deleted, but this year, the story is there in the syllabus, and that's why we are going to study this very interesting story, The Tiger King, written by the writer Kalki. Kalki R. Krishnamurti. Writer's name is R. Krishnamurti, and Kalki is his pen name, so is recognized as Kalki R. Krishnamurti. Was born in the year 1899 and died in the year 1954. So before we learn a little bit about this writer, why the name Kalki? What is the significance of this name Kalki? Indian mythologies are very fascinating, and Kalki is considered to be the last avatar of Lord Vishnu. So let's try to understand the significance of the name Kalki.
Kalki is the final incarnation of Lord Vishnu. In ancient Hindu scriptures, Shambhala is said to be Kalki's birthplace. Shambhala is a mythical paradise that is constantly spoken in ancient Hindu scriptures, including Kal Chakra Tantra and ancient writing such as the Zhang culture, which spread Buddhism in western Tibet. The word has a Sanskrit root, which means place of peace or place of silence. The legend says that only people with pure heart can live in the place where love and wisdom are the rulers. It is believed that Kalki appears at the end of Kali Yuga. According to the Hindu scriptures, universal time is composed of four main periods or yugs: Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Human beings are currently living in the Kali Yuga period, which lasts approximately 432,000 years. This period began after the Battle of Kurukshetra, at the end of King Parikshit's region, some 5,000 years ago. Therefore, approximately 427,000 years of Kali Yuga remain before it is said that Kalki will come. Purans predict that Kalki will be on a winged white horse and a radiant sword. It is believed that Kalki will cause the destruction of the world when humanity completely abandons morale, when nothing is known about sacrifice techniques, even in words. Kalki Avatar's mission is to restore justice and good principles, which disappeared at the end of Kali Yuga, the iron age of hypocrisy and struggle. At the end of Kali Yuga, the population of the whole world will be so reduced to minimalism that there will be no more power to understand what dharma or adharma is. And it's already there, Kali Yuga. People will not have the power to understand philosophy, consciousness. Then, at that time, when there are no more good principles, no humanity left, then there is no alternative. At that moment, Kalki's avatar will arrive and he will take a sword on a horseback. He will simply continue to kill all these evil and adharmic creatures and mark the beginning of another Satyug, the golden age of righteousness and truth. Nostradamus' prediction about Lord Kalki. Nostradamus was a great astrologer, and whatever he had predicted had always come true. According to his prediction, it was discovered that a person will bear with immense power in the world, whose holy day will be Thursday and will rule throughout the world, both of land and sea. He will be the only person who will free the world from all problems. According to Nostradamus, this great person will come down from his throne and will move through the sea and air for striking the evil once with his rod. According to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Kalki has many similarities to what Nostradamus had predicted. Who would not agree that the earth has undergone extraordinary deterioration of its biosphere? Who could argue that living a pure life on earth becomes more difficult and challenging with each passing year? Who has not shouted about social degeneration and political turmoil, financial chaos and pain and suffering caused by endless wars? Leaving aside each statement, counter declaration, and argument about the predictions and prophecies about Kalki, we really wish he is out there somewhere.
R. Krishnamurti, who is known by his pen name Kalki, is credited with ushering in a literary era in South India, which has raised the standard of Tamil novel. Kalki has donned many hats in his lifetime. Besides a writer, he was a journalist, activist, poet, music critic, and playwright in the 30s and 40s. He is awarded with Sahitya Academy Award. He has penned 120 short stories, 10 novellas, short novels, historical romances, but most prominent were his works in historical fiction, particularly Ponniyin Selvan, which is dealing with the Tamil Empire that is believed to be one of the longest ruling dynasties. That's a Chola dynasty, which he has glorified in his historical fiction Ponniyin Selvan. And he was known by the pen name Kalki. So he was named after Kalki Avatar, the 10th and last avatar of the Hindu Lord Vishnu. So R. Krishnamurti, who is known as Kalki, was a very popular Tamil writer of the last century. He was a journalist, poet, short story writer, critic, activist. His writings include 120 short stories. Short stories are quite popular nowadays. You don't have enough time to read very long novels, but you prefer to read short stories. And Vistas is full of short stories. It's an anthology. So here collection of short stories we find which promote reading habits. Then besides that 10 novellas, short novels. So they are a long short stories. So they are novellas. They are short novels. 5 novels. So he was also a novelist, poet. 3 historical romances, and particularly one which is quite famous is Ponniyin Selvan, a 2,400 word cult novel which glorified the Chola dynasty, Tamil Empire, and that is believed to be one of the longest ruling dynasties in the world history. And this is also adapted into a film which is directed by Mani Ratnam. And here, what Kalki has emerged is mainly because of that Ponniyin Selvan. He has become a formidable literary figure. Then editorial and political writings. He was a political activist. He was a freedom fighter. And hundreds of film and music reviews. So here you can see in the literary field, he was a literary giant. He faced imprisonment. So that's why he was activist. And later he joined the Congress party to produce propagandist literature. He also translated Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography. And what is the title of Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography? My Experiments with Truth. And he translated it in Tamil. Now, the introduction of this story, The Tiger King. I'm quite sure that you will definitely enjoy this story because it's about the king who is not thinking about the welfare of people, but he is self centered. He's only thinking about himself. So, here, this story is a satire. What is a satire? Satire is the use of humor which is being done there to attack a person. So, it's a piece of writing that uses what? That uses humor in order to show the follies of, the faults of, the mistakes of the people who are in power. So using humor to show the weaknesses, to show the foolishness. So humorous way of criticizing people. So what is satire? Satire is humorous way of criticizing people who are there in power. So what it will show us? It will show their weaknesses. It will show us their foolishness. So here satire on the pride of those in power, stubbornness of those in power. They are very adamant. They are very stubborn. They are not willing to change their way. So what does stubbornness means? The one who is adamant is stubborn. The one who is not willing to change. So those who are proud of themselves, so those who have got pride, who are in power, they they may have weaknesses, but despite all that, they are very much proud of themselves. So pride and stubbornness of those in power. So it's a satire. So there's a humor, there's a wit there, there's a humor there, and in humorous way, the writer Kalki is trying to bring out the weaknesses of those people. It is trying to show us, exhibit us their foolishness, those people who are there in power. The writer takes us to the days of autocratic kings, eccentric, strange behavior, autocratic, dictators. So those kings who were autocratic and eccentric, who had peculiar behavior, who had strange behavior, so those who were in power, these kings lived under the thumb rule of British. Whatever the Britishers, their guidelines, they lived according to the guidelines of the British. As they fear them, they were afraid of them, they were under their control, and therefore they were afraid of them. Most of the time, the rulers were not interested in serving the people. So they were not interested for the welfare of the people and they were not working for the welfare of the public. Instead, they spent their time in foolish pursuits. What they like to pursue, they pursued. Now here the king, the tiger king, he's interested in only in hunting because the astrologer has predicted that he would be killed by the tiger. They flouted all laws. They broke all laws and bent them to suit their selfish interests. The Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram. So, who is the Tiger King? The Tiger King is the Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram. So, the name of that kingdom is Pratibandhapuram. So, King of Pratibandhapuram is the Tiger King. And he tried to believe what was written in his fate. He just believed the astrologer. So, what it was going to happen, rather than focusing on the welfare of people, he just thought that he's going to be killed by the tiger and he should kill the tigers. And that is why the title, the Tiger King. The chief astrologer had predicted that the cause of his death would be a tiger. And that is the reason why he was hunting the tigers. So the king tried his best to believe that prediction. So he believed that prediction very much. And therefore, he was on tiger hunting. And his campaign of tiger hunting was very successful. Why it was very, very successful? Because he was able to kill 99 tigers. All his strategies, all his plans and wise plans, they worked till he killed 99 tigers. But it was the 100th tiger that eluded him, that escaped, and he could not kill the 100th tiger. And it's quite interesting because it was very easy for him to kill 99 tigers. But why there was a problem with the 100th tiger? The irony of fate brings quite an unexpected end of the Maharaja. And it's quite ironic when you see. It's quite interesting the way Maharaja has been killed. The hero who killed 99 tigers couldn't kill the only one that was left. And the last tiger he thought to be dead, actually it survived. He tried to kill it. He shot it. But that tiger survived. The king's bullet had missed its mark. And it's quite ironic that he could kill 99 tigers. But it was a wooden tiger which brought the death. Ironically, the 100 tiger which caused his death was not a ferocious beast of blood and flesh. So it was not a fierce beast. It was not a ferocious beast. It was not a wild animal. But what was it? It was a wooden tiger. So that is what is the irony. He could kill tigers, but a toy, a wooden tiger, that happened to be the cause of his death. So one of the slivers of wood, one of the pieces of wood, a piece of wood, what has happened? Pierced his right hand. And as a result, what happened? It caused infection. And that infection spread. Then it became a suppurating sore. And that sore, that injury that he had, that ultimately led to his death. I'm quite sure you will enjoy this story, and let's discuss about this story more in the next session. Thank you. Goodbye.